This episode is brought to you by Greenlight. Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Spotify. Greenlight.com/Spotify.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift.
Woo!
Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit REI.com.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah, last week it got pretty drunk.
There you go. Well, welcome back as we're talking about getting drunk. It's another night down here in Florida. Some of us are a little cool, and by a little cool, I call that mid-60s. Yeah, I had yes, I know you're laughing, Mike. We had like a 18-degree drop in the last 24 hours, and I believe I saw your son had a snow day.
Yeah, already.
Well, that sucks to be you.
I enjoyed it. It was so pretty.
We will enjoy it from afar. Joining us tonight is my friend Lynn that I have known for, dear Lord, let's see. I'm going to say, Lynn, we met in 96.
I
roughly.
believe that is correct, yes.
Yeah. We've actually known each other since college. We became roommates our sophomore year due to tragedy. And I think it actually was tragic reasoning, but we became good friends. I know for me personally, I learned a lot from living with someone who is very different than me. And we'll dig into that one here in a second for a little bit. I'm going to give a couple stories and then I'm going to line us up as to where we're going tonight as to why I say that, right? So we're going to keep a little bit in touch with our last episode. And this will probably be the last time that we get serious for a few weeks. So let's keep it going because it's going to be holiday shenanigans after this. As my family's watching Gremlins downstairs, which is fully considered a Christmas movie. 1,000%. No one can disagree with that one.
Santa Claus got stuck at the chimney. I agree.
Yes. So with that being said, we got into a tangent a little bit last week and we were talking a lot about gay marriage and we were talking about it in kind of a different realm, not along the lines of do people accept it? Don't they accept it? Why? And all that. Straight people, but I say, why the fuck do you even want to get married? You're just inviting trouble. But then I realized actually everything's usually great until you add children into the mix. See, yes, as Mike shot and nods his head.
Oh yeah.
We're deathly honest here. I love my wife. I love my children, but I'm pretty sure my wife will say that sometimes she wishes I wasn't around.
I mean, same here.
Yeah.
But as we were going into that mix, though, we were talking about the acceptance and the different views that people have with gay marriage and all that. And I wanted to take that a bit further. And I wanted to just kind of talk about over the last, and I'm going to go 30 years because it's pretty much spot on, 30 years that we've known each other.
Mm-hmm.
For you, we could go further back if you want, and that's going to be completely up to you. But I want to talk a little bit about how we've noticed, and it's going to be interesting, right? Because we're going to have it on two different spectrums here. And if anyone hasn't realized as I'm talking, Lynn is an openly homosexual man, okay? In fact, to just kind of give a basis of where I was going before I get off on a tirade, is I want to talk about kind of how that acceptance in society has kind of changed over the last 30 years. And again, I'm not saying it's a wide open acceptance in any manner, but I think it's gotten different levels. And I want to talk about even the ups and downs of those different levels as we've kind of had the changes in the last few decades. I can remember when I first knew Lynn, and I'd say we were good acquaintances, not quite like friends yet. And I was still feeling it out. I'm whatever, 19, 20. I'm still figuring out myself. And now I get intimately thrown into a realm of the whole LGBT. There wasn't much T back then, honestly. It was lesbian and gay and bi. It was really what it was back in the 90s.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, well, those of us in the community still had the T and the Q in there, but I think from the outside, it probably didn't look that much.
Yeah. And the fun thing was Lynn was also one of these things he did as we'll call it a hobby, is he did drag, which is honestly, people have weird views when they think of that kind of stuff. But to actually watch somebody go from just a straight up dude to a woman, and what it takes to watch all the stuff it takes between taping your junk and the makeup and all that. I can remember it, Lynn, one of the best days that story-wise that I had is you were getting ready for a show once. I think it was probably one of the first ones I ever went to, which, hey, I'm just gonna say to all the straight people out there, if you want free drinks and you're a dude, go to a drag show.
Absolutely.
I mean, don't be afraid. They won't grab you and steal you. They might hit on you. Yes, trust me, you will be your ego will be like way up and you're really drunk. It's awesome. It really is. I mean, that was probably my first real ego boost in my 20s. Um, but I remember you were getting ready and there was some new freshman in the bathroom. And I remember, as crass as this is to say now, someone said something like, "Oh my God, this fag is in the boys' room. This isn't cool." And I remember you walking in there with a high heel and you went, "Honey, I ain't interested in your ugly ass anyway. And if you ever talk to me like that again, I will bust this heel off in your face." And you, Mike, nobody ever said that damn thing ever again. Nobody cared. But the beauty of that for somebody like me is it put it into a 100% perspective. And I think that, if I'm looking at kind of outside looking in, like you said, Lynn, there, the acceptance of it, that's the piece that a lot of people don't realize is out there. If you look into a lot of the issues that we've had, especially in the last 20 years, right? With people going into like different gender. Well, he says you're paused to an incoming call. Mike will be right back. They don't like you. That's happened before. But people will freak out about having the whole guy dressing up like a woman, right, to go in a bathroom and vice versa. And that's what they assume. But people don't realize that only sickos do that, not people that are of a different sexual preference than you. Because a gay man does not want to go in a room with women to look at that. Period. You got stalls. If he looks like a woman, so what? And vice versa. I don't really understand why people have that weird persona and they put it out there. So I think back in the 90s, a lot of it was more confusion as to, not knowing what their view was because people just didn't know. It was just kind of, oh, gay, you like dudes, gross, blah, blah, blah. And that's just kind of like, that's how it was thought of, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't think there was much more than that. Would you agree, Lynn? Because again, I don't remember, I don't, and again, I'm sorry, before I cut you off, I am naive. I am a naive white straight man. So you have to give me that much, but I don't remember there being hate groups on our college campus or any of the craziness that you still even hear nowadays and that we've heard over the last 30 years. Was there a lot of that kind of in the back that we just didn't know about?
So to be honest, there was quite a bit of it. So I don't know. I mean, my freshman year, they started me off in Dunbar Hall, which was the sports dorm, and I have no idea why they would put a fashion design major in the sports dorm, but they did, and I got a lot of shit in there. To the point where the reason I ended up moving into Verder was because somebody wrote the word fag on the wall beside my dorm room door. So I was like, you got to get me out of here. I'm not staying here. I had like friends there, the guys who lived across the hall. One was a baseball player, one was a wrestler. They were really good friends of mine. everything fine with them. But I get into altercations a few times with people in the dorm that didn't want me there. So that happened. And, I remember a couple of times when I was dating someone and would be walking on campus with my boyfriend. If we were holding hands, we'd get looks and sometimes, shit said to us. But I think where you said like people kind of didn't understand as much, I think, yeah, they didn't have as much exposure necessarily, right? Because it was the 90s. I mean, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have, let alone wide access to the internet and things like we do now, right? So there
Yeah.
was, I think it was a lot of misunderstanding and ignorance, and insofar as just not being around
Yep.
people, or people are always like, I don't know anybody who's gay. Well, most people did know somebody was gay, they just didn't, they weren't out
Realize it.
yet or something. Yeah, I mean, there was stuff happening at that time, but you know what, cities and college communities are always a little bit better with that kind of stuff. You tend towards a little bit more of a liberal mindset. So it wasn't crazy and I never got attacked, but I did deal with I did catch some shit here and there.
Okay, a little bit, not quite hazing, but yeah, just that, yeah, the hate vibe, I guess, if you want to call it, less right than anything else.
Yeah.
And as we're looking on that, before we kind of just move on a little bit more from there, Mike, on your side, being not in the kind of the college realm, so you were high school right into the workforce and all that. Was there? Did you have any real? I mean, in reality, did you have? I mean, any interaction? I mean, was there anything you can even think of at that point in time where it was?
This episode is brought to you by McAfee. I found this great place to stay this weekend.
Click on the link and book it.
Oh, wow. McAfee alerted me that this site is fake and even blocked it. Cyber criminals create fake sites to steal your passwords and financial data. McAfee identifies and blocks these sites to keep you safer online, so you can book your trip without worry. Learn more at McAfee.com/online protection.
Meet the computer you can talk to. With Copilot on Windows, working, creating, and collaborating is as easy as talking. Got writer's block? Share your screen with Copilot Vision to help spark inspiration, and use Copilot Voice to have a conversation and brainstorm ideas. Or maybe you need some tech help. With Copilot Vision, Copilot sees what you see. Let Copilot talk you through step-by-step guidance so you can master new apps, games, and skills faster. Try now at windows.com/Copilot.
The only interaction I ever had, I mean, because I hung out with you and a couple of my other friends that were on college campuses, it was always pretty much the norm, and I was always hanging out with like-minded people. And it also has to do a lot with the upbringing. My family grew up in a very neutral zone. We never really got into partisan, gays and blacks, and we were just kind of like, hey, what's up? That's how my family always rolled. So, but I knew well enough. I still remember when Lynn became your roommate, and you're like, Mike, he's a drag queen. This is so cool. And I was like, are you shitting me? Are you serious? Because both Joe and I came from an enclosed suburbanite area where we weren't really. There was maybe a couple people that were questionable in our high school, but when Joe was put into that situation of his roommate is actually in the community and stuff. We both found it really interesting at that whole time. I was like,
Yeah.
sweet. And when he dresses up, he's pretty hot.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it was a new experience, right? And it's kinda
Yeah.
and that's what you're taught one of 2 ways as a kid, right? Either something's different, embrace
Right.
it to see if what you think of it, form an opinion, or, "Ooh, different, bad, no good." And it's I mean, it's kinda there's only 2 ways to go about it. And like you said, it's really matter of the upbringing. I think
Right. And a lot of that is cultural. So I know if you ended up flocking with a bunch of, and I don't want to generalize it, but meatheads that are playing sports and they're masculine and stuff like that, and they're going to be fag and all this other stuff.
they're half gay.
That's the people, yeah, usually they're the ones that, I'm sorry to say, like to take something in the butt while they're having their moment. But anyway, they don't like to accept it, but it's true. But yeah, it's you're either forced either by family turmoil that you were brought up with. This is like racism and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It's a learned process. Like I said, my family, I was so fortunate that we always had our stereotypes, and I am a stereotyping son of a bitch. I love stereotypes. I will die on that sword. But being a racist and a bigot and stuff is really different than being a stereotype person.
100%.
But yeah, in our school there was one guy that we went to school with who got a lot of shit, and because of the possibility that he might have been gay, and I remember feeling bad for him. And I always kind of left him alone. I think there was only one time that he got cross with me that I whipped out the whatever at him, but he was being a shit. So it's like, well, I got you on this one, buddy.
Yeah, I
But
think,
other than that,
yeah, I think it was the connotation was thought of differently back then too, right? It was, I mean,
100%.
kinda like it was like throwing out the F bomb. It was just kind of a jab and not. Yeah, it's definitely evolved in the last timing. And now I don't. I'm not going to go to now yet. But I don't even know how you would explain its usage now. It's become why there's this kind of, yeah. It's a weird one now. So yeah, and
Unless
I'm
it's done in a joking manner, like I know the guys at work, they'll throw it out in a joking manner, as long as it's done in not a harmful way. But if they do it in a conversation piece, like I was walking in the room and these couple of F's, it's like, guys, come on. There's that line.
Yeah, so I will cross I'm gonna cross decades for a moment here because when we were growing up as kids, 10, 12, well, 10 might be a little bit younger, but 12 to like 15, the word gay, like I don't think the F word, I don't think I ever really said it, honestly. I never even
No.
I even knew that word, right? But gay was just kind of like almost like a term of endearment. Oh, that's gay, or you didn't really
Yeah.
put anything to it.
It's
It
like
was
calling somebody a
very,
boner.
yeah, and it's like, and I never knew. I don't think I ever, I don't think I could have ever made that correlation between what I said with the word and what it might actually mean in reality, right? As opposed to defining a person. But if we fast forward to 2025, a 12, 10, 11, 12-year old, they do know what that word means. They don't
Mhm.
use it the same way that we did back then. Uh, you
If at
know,
all.
yeah, I mean, my son is 11 and he will tease a person that he knows that is openly gay. It's a little bit older. And to him, they're very close friends. So it's kind of a chummy, jokey thing. Like they'll draw pictures of each other and we'll be making fun of them. And, he might put, I'm gay in it. It's like kind of and but they're both laughing in it. It's not in a harsh manner in any piece, whatever. But when he says that, he says it because he knows that the person that he's interacting with is gay, and it's not in that other way of saying it. So it's intriguing to see what social media and the internet has kind of done with that along the lines. And I don't we can't break this up by decades, but I don't know, like, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? I guess I'm hoping that the younger children having a realization of what harmful words mean. And if we're going with harmful words, it's not just homo, gay, fag. Our dear president brought a big one up last week with retard. There are connotations like that they've come to the forefront of these are not okay to say. It's and I think, and I hate saying all of those. I mean, you have to, right? I mean, it's the point that we're trying to make here. But it has changed the dynamic of how those words are actually used and meant. And I mean, am I wrong to think that they've almost become more hate-filled words when they're thrown out that way than they used to be? Before I said it was a confusion. It was just kind of I didn't know what to say, so I would just throw this word out. And I don't know. I guess I see it now. It's almost like it's more of a racial type slur the way they're being used, as opposed to 20 years ago, as it was just kind of used as a mudslinging thing that I just don't have anything on a thought process as to what to say. I mean, have you guys, you see anything? Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. I feel like the thing is you always felt the intention behind it, right? So even 20, 30 years ago, you could feel the intention behind it, whether it was meant derogatory, whether it was meant hatefully, or whether it was just a playful kind of whatever. I mean, I still know people who go, "Oh, that's so gay," just meaning like that's stupid or whatever. And I don't take offense to it. Now, when I was younger, I was a little more spitfire and a little more, on edge about everything. So I might have. But I do agree with you that now, I mean, it's definitely getting more, vitriolic with the way people are saying and using those terms. And I think it's just because of the people in leadership that act like that stuff is okay.
Yeah.
They're trying to tear down all of the progress that we have made. And it looks like, okay, this is fine. This is okay. We can do whatever we want, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, definitely harsher now.
So yeah, so one of the things I was actually wondering as I was kind of just looking at some of the notes that I was thinking about is, if you were to take the acceptance level, is it, I don't know if accurate is the right word to say, but how would you describe the difference from, let's see, where was it? Clinton? Yeah, I guess Clinton was president when we were kind of around about there. You had your
Yep.
Clintonness, HIV became very big. I think that may have been a portion that kind of in AIDS that made things a little bit scarier. And that's where it got a little bit jumbled because of the added fear that was added, that was, part of that. But I feel like once the known was there for all that, the overall acceptance of the lifestyle started to finally open up because people were learning that it was just, we're not trying to change people. It just kind of became a part of society. And then because let's just go right into it. Trump's first term. I do feel like there was a pretty big slide back. Um, not just
Yeah.
for, for definitely for LGBTQ. There were for other, other minorities also. But, that's the one, this is the one we're talking about. I think it was kind of, I mean, woke, I hate that word, especially living in Florida because our governor thinks it's his last name. It's actually just, it's a stupid word, honestly. It's used for everything now, but that kind of became the, let's say woke instead of anything that fits in that LGBT community, right? Because they're just
Yeah.
kind of like, they say, oh, woke. Don't ask, don't tell. It's woke. This is woke. It's like, no, it's just, it's not. You're complaining about affirmative action. And then you're saying, well, because you've now included the gay community, it's worse than it was before. And I've had this conversation with some people, and I'm like, listen, the reality in life is if you're interviewing two people and one of them reminds you more of yourself than the other person, you're going to skew favoritism toward that person. Whether the other person is a different color, a different race, a different sex, a different preference of a sexual preference. That's just the way reality is. And affirmative action was put there to try to level that playing field away from, to kind of put the blinders on for when making those kinds of decisions. A lot of people just refuse to accept that. They see it as, I don't want to bash dear Charlie Kirk, but as he as quoted to say, you took a good job from X person and you gave it to this one who it should have went, this black girl got a job that a white person should have had for no reason other than, in his opinion, affirmative action. And I believe he said that about Michelle Obama. I mean, as in, amongst of others. You're right. Brock should have married a white girl, dumbass. I mean, come on. The connotation itself was idiotic. But again, whatever. The guy loved to debate half drunk college kids. So he was always going to win and all that. So the thing is, did you notice a difference when MAGA became so big, Lynn? Like, did it feel like you lost ground? Is all I could
Oh yeah,
say.
for sure. And even, I mean, at the time when he was elected the first time, we were still living in New York, and even there, you felt a shift, right? So it was, yeah, it was just crazy. I mean, it definitely feels like a lot of the progress we've made is going backwards. And excuse me, I mean, thank God that the Supreme Court decided not to take up the marriage equality
Yeah.
thing recently. So, because we were really worried about that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely feel a shift in everything recently. And I've unfriended a lot of family on social media for things
I
that they
understand.
post and stuff like that, just because, and it's gotten more and more like that since he was elected the first time. And yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit crazy.
And it seems also as that time, like, because he was also such a big social media president, it's almost like it's thrown it out there even more, so now I can just yell at you online and not really, the keyboard warriors are out there more and they're not friendly, which is, it's sad. It really is. You feel, so you guys were in New York for the first one. Were you married then?
Yes, we got
Oh,
married in 2015. So
oh, well, you guys you hit it early. Good for you.
yeah.
right when you could. I mean, I know some family members that are gay and they've been engaged for years, especially when the second round of elections came out. They're like, dude, you better get moving before you. I don't. That would be an interesting one if they tried to, if the Supreme Court did pick it up and they try to have mass annulments throughout the world. I mean, imagine
Well,
that would be. Woof.
yeah, and then I don't think they can do that because Biden did put a law on the books that no matter what happens, basically any state has to recognize another state's. I mean, that's already a thing. Any state has to
Yep.
recognize another state's marriage, but he did make sure to do that specifically for same-sex marriages. So even if they put it back to the states and the states who hadn't already decided to recognize it, you exactly. So and for us, even Florida passed it before it was federally passed. So you were legally able to get married in Florida before you were federally. So unless, Daddy DeSantis decides to try to turn that around too. But
Well, he's running out of time, so
yeah,
thankfully.
thank God.
But even with that, but even interesting enough, though, the big key I know for a lot of the reasoning for that is one, the reason most people get married to just announce their love across the board in one manner or the other, right? That's all it is. That's really all marriage is. It's just saying we're stuck together. If we decide to end it, it gets more costly for both of us. That's really the hardcore truth, right? Yes, if you're super religious, you're announcing your love in front of God or whatever you happen to believe and all that stuff. And hey, if you're super religious and again, the new pope is great. He's like, whatever. Yeah, he seems that he's way more open on this kind of stuff. If God is truly against it, then he'll judge it when you guys are gone and dead. So what if you're announcing it in front of him, whether it's on a piece of paper or out loud or in your bedroom? If you believe in God, he sees it all anyway. So who gives a shit? That kind of goes back to a lot of the conversation we had last time. Why are people so bothered by something that doesn't really affect them? I mean, Lynn, have you ever converted anybody? Have you
No,
ever tried to convert a straight person just because?
no, I have
You
not.
should.
I have not.
Is it possible? Is it possible, Lynn?
It is not possible. No, for
Because
sure.
you have to have a underlying desire for even a person who does something disgusting. They have that desire for whatever that is and why. You cannot force that on another person. And people just need to realize that one. It bothers me. I don't get it. Just like you can't train children. But so we started on, and we did start around this a little bit with the social media and all that. So do you feel one thing I have noticed is, and again, it may all be due to social media and the internet and everybody having access to news channels from anywhere. But do you think because of all that, that the gay community has become more vocal? Up until I moved, actually, I can't even say moved down here. Up until the broad enough internet, I had no idea Disney had a gay weekend, Pride weekend. Even a lot of the gay pride parades, up until it was really broadcast out there, you never knew about it unless you were in that niche of wherever it's happening. And I think it's a good thing personally. But do you think part of, because of the fact that you guys can get the message out easier, is that part of the reason why it has become, more, what's the word I'm looking for? More, I don't want to say complacent, more visual to the masses.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely social media has helped, obviously, for us, for anybody really, to get a message out or to be more visible. I don't know if the visibility is causing more, hatred towards our community or not. I mean, I think, again, like I said, I think it's just that seeing things coming from the top down, is what's really causing that. People feel like they have license to do whatever they want. And like Mike was saying earlier, it's really about what you're taught. It's learned behavior. So people are
Yeah.
seeing their leaders do it and then their parents do it. And so they think it's okay. So yeah, I mean, but social media, like, obviously, a good tool and also a very bad tool sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's been helpful, definitely, but it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Well, okay, let's go. I got one that just popped in my mind thinking about that, going from the top down. And I'm not ever gonna support, I'm not gonna promote anybody out there. I have weird views on what I'm about to say. Like they're very bipolar because of the way things are done in the state. But I also know how the true president is supposed to act and not live by executive action.
Mm.
How much, and I think it would take a few years, but how much of a 180 do you think there would be if Newsom runs in the next election and wins? Because he's like, the man seems to be, or some, or even, or let's even go where, who is, I'm drawing a blank, but there was the rumor that Kamala was going to pick him for the gay,
Pete Buttigieg.
yes, Buttigieg. Thank you. Let's say he won, or somebody that's just openly that knows how to work social media, which is why I say Newsom, because he's got the people. He's definitely got that down pat.
Mm.
And he is about as open arms with everything that I've ever seen versus, outside of hate. No, I'm not saying I want the taxes and all the craziness that this conversation causes cancer in California. We all know that based on
Right.
labels. But, somebody who, if we get somebody in there that truly promotes what America is meant to be, love one another, help out your, brother, how would you feel? I mean, what would that be like in your opinion, to truly get, I think Biden was kind of there, but he wasn't a social media type person. He was fine with all that, but they didn't push any of that agenda on social media. But could you imagine having a champion, like a real champion?
I mean, that would be amazing. I don't know, you said how fast do you think the turnaround would be? I mean, obviously it's going to take a while. We're going to have to dig out of a lot of shit before we get turned around, and people become so ingrained in what they feel and what they think that they don't want to say they were wrong. You know what I mean? So they don't want to contradict themselves because, God forbid, they admit that they were wrong in their thinking. So it's definitely going to take a while. I mean, Newsom, he's good. He wouldn't be my first choice. He's done recently some not so great stuff on the trans rights front. So that bothers me a bit, but I love Pete Buttigieg, but I don't think we couldn't even elect a black woman with a white man running with her. We're not going to elect a black Indian woman with a gay man running with her. That's just exactly. So
right?
yeah. So I mean, I'm hopeful, obviously, because it's been disheartening to see the fight that we've been fighting for so long, and people long before me were fighting for LGBTQ plus rights, and to have it slide so far backwards, it feels like it's so far backwards now that it's just, it really hurts a lot. And it's like a lot of people that I really love, like I said, I've unfriended, my nieces and nephews posting stuff on social media that's anti-LGBTQ. And I'm like, why? Who, your kids? I mean, they're in their 20s now, for God's sake, but it's like, what is happening? So yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful, but I know it's going to take a while.
Yeah, and I think part of it would be, even if we go that route, it just will be, the mindset change won't be vocal. It will still just be, the noise will just drop down a little instead of, which kind of sucks. I'm glad to say that the younger generations I'm noticing are more open. 100%. Like you said, Mike, it's still a learned behavior, and it's out there, but they're definitely, even ones that come from households that you're like questioning, I don't think they're going to be okay with this. The kids are fairly
I'm going to
chill.
say something that's a little bit more, it's might dig into the wrong souls here, but I mean, just like it was back in the 60s when, the first integrated schools were with the blacks and the whites. When you have something that's being normalized, over time it becomes easier to accept. You're still going to have those outliers. And where we were from the 80s and the 90s even to now is impressively, a lot farther than we were in the black and white community, which stances of anybody on the LGBTQ stance and any hetero stance defending them, being able to bring that to the forefront, to make it normalized, that is the best way to go about it. Our current administration is definitely taking us back 10 years, in my opinion. Things like when you see friends that have been together forever, as soon as like Biden made it legal for gay and homosexual communities to marry, and the first thing is, when do you guys get married? Because everybody's so excited, and they're like, "Whoa, hold the fire, bro." There's a lot to think about. There's businesses, and now there's prenups, and it's like, oh well, we didn't think about that. I figured you just run out and get married, but and that's actually a lot of what it was. There was a lot of us that a lot of our gay and lesbian friends, we were diving in like, when are you guys getting married? You've been together for like 6 years, you know? And they had to tell us to calm the fuck down.
That's funny. We're excited for you.
Yeah, we were, and we even went to their wedding. It was great.
What a party.
But yeah, the current administration is taking us back 10 years. It won't be as, and I don't think it will be as hard to crawl out of the cesspool of bullshit that we've climbed into for the past 10 years, because we do have a generation coming up, as you guys said, that is a lot more accepting and normalized to what it is. To everybody that identifies as who they are.
Yeah, maybe one of the good things of TikTok.
Absolutely. And social media and all the wonderful things. But but yeah, it's going to take some time. The damage that this administration has done is pretty hardcore. Once anybody that's of any kind of progressive minority or centrist mindset launching forward over the past 15 years was all like, whoa. And then all of a sudden we got the orange blob, and what a disappointment that was, because we also saw progress getting stalled out, if not rolled back. So in the future, I agree with you. I think the new generation we got coming up, our kids that are rolling out. I know I've made my child immersed in it. We took them to a wedding, and I remember them asking me, "How did they do about it?" They were real nervous about it. I went, "What do you mean?" I went, "You guys got married." I didn't treat it anything of any oddity. It was a sacred thing, and that specialty of that was there.
Yeah.
But for him to go, "I'm at a gay wedding," that wasn't there. It wasn't grandized in that. It was we normalized it as these are our friends. They love each other. They're getting married. So the more of us that do that, that just means that we have a chance of moving forward. I don't know where I'm getting off the tangent. Maybe this crack is kicking in.
But you're not, I don't
Set
think
me straight.
I don't think you're off too much of a tangent, because as you were saying that, it was making me think of certain other areas where I have seen at least some more forward-thinking acceptance. Back not too long ago, if an athlete came out as gay, they were pretty much ostracized from their sport. In Hollywood, people would think of people very differently when they came out. And now it's almost like we kind of thought maybe. It doesn't. I think the biggest one lately, and it was kind of cool. I'm not even a huge fan of this actress/actor, although they were great in The Umbrella Academy. And I cannot think of her name to save my life. Lynn,
Elliot Page.
Yes.
Page.
Yes, but she literally went from I'm a female to no, I am a male actor, and you're going to treat me this way, and this is the roles I'm going for. 15 years ago, she would have just never gotten another job.
Oh, that would never have happened. No, he would never have gotten another job.
And now acting jobs still exist for that person, which is awesome. And again, so that actually moves into what I want to talk about next. Because that goes right along with, and this is the one thing I have noticed more. And again, it goes back to the local administration that I know people bring this up in the whole, they call the woke agenda and all that. People seem to think that this agenda is being pushed in media too much. There's always that big finger point at Disney that shows or movies always has to have it used to be the token black guy in a movie. Now you need to have a token gay couple. Is there any validity to that? Is it, if you try to step back? I know there's been, yes, I've seen a couple movies where sometimes you're kind of like, it doesn't really help the storyline. So I'm not really sure why they even had this relationship, period, let alone it be a same-sex one. And then in others, it actually goes really well. I don't know if anybody watched The Last of Us.
Yes.
Good old Pedro Pascal. There's a whole episode as gay as you can get, but it's not in your face in any manner. And it goes with the storyline and the way that they told that season perfectly, especially with the whole post-apocalyptic bit and the way it goes. It fit. People either loved it and were perfectly fine with it, or they thought it was being crammed down our throat. And, me personally, I thought it was a great episode. It was well acted. It was well put together. It fit along. It did not take away from the show, in my opinion, in any way. But are we, and is it a valid point that's being made out there that there's maybe too much of that? Or is it being Don't you laugh, Lynn,
I'm
when I say
sorry, but
hey, sometimes to describe things, you kind of just got to go there. How you say it,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or even not even in like adult movies, but is it being in like the children's movies? I mean, it is more than it used to be, right? But again, if you go back and watch the old Disney movies now with a cautious eye, you're like, they were always there. It just wasn't quite as they just hit it more. No,
Well, I'm a Bert and Ernie are still sus. I'm just saying.
they came out. They fully came out. I think they've always. I mean, yeah, you should
Did
have
they
never.
really, or was that just a me?
No. They came. That was years ago that they came out as a couple.
Really, I did
I'm
I'm
not
a
I'm gonna look it up.
look it up. Look, because I
You
didn't know that either.
talk about. Give me your opinion on what I just said, and I'm gonna verify. But I'm almost 100%.
Well, I mean, my opinion might seem a little obvious, but no, I don't think that it's. So I really hate when people say, like, why do you have to shove it down our throats? Why do you have to throw it in our face all the time? Like, we've always been here, but we've just been invisible most of the time. And like, I grew up seeing nothing but straight relationships on TV for the most part, and in movies and all this stuff. And it feels nice, even as a 40, almost 49-year-old man. It feels really good to see those stories finally being out there
Wait,
more.
stop, bitch! You younger than us?
bitch.
Yes, I'll be
Mother,
49 in
I thought you were a year older. God damn it! Sorry, just I had to stop.
no, that's all right.
I thought we were the young ones here, Mike. God bless.
That's okay. I'm the geezer.
Continue on.
No, but I mean, like, I still get really excited when I see those stories interspersed throughout regular media. I don't have to go. I mean, I do search out gay media, of course, but I don't have to so much anymore, right? Because I get to see myself portrayed in Grey's Anatomy and in Scandal and in all these mainstream shows that people just love, and it's fantastic. I can't speak a lot to the Disney because I don't have kids, so I don't see all of the Disney movies, but I think it's good to have that representation there too, because again, going back to what Mike said, it's learned behavior. So if they're seeing those relationships from that young age, it's normalized to them. And it's not going to be something that shocks them when they see two men holding hands on the street or two women embracing each other on the street, some stuff like that. I always say, or I've said before, like when we were coming up in the 90s, right? If you saw a gay story, it was typically tragic, dying of AIDS kind of thing. There was no real love stories happening, none of that kind of stuff. And so it's great to see that now. I can remember Philadelphia. It was a huge movie, right?
Really
amazing film. It was an amazing film. Still probably my all-time favorite film. But it was tragedy. It was tragedy. So, and everybody was closeted and, sneaking around and, all this stuff. And it's really important to have that positive representation that we have now. And again, people do that all the time. Why do you have to have pride? You're shoving it down our throats. Why do you have to have this? When do we get straight pride? When you get straight pride, when you get murdered for being who you are, when you can't walk down the street holding your wife's hand, then you can have straight pride.
Thank you. That is valid as shit. That's a good question, and this is what I wanted to hear. That's the kind of stuff I've really. Yes, thank you. I like that. I do, and I think that's the perfect reasoning for it. And it's just like hearing you talk about it, right? I know people will say if they see any of this in a Disney or a younger movie, it is the people that are closed off want to see it as you're forcing my children to want to be gay.
Right. You're grooming. You're groomers. You're grooming our children.
Yes. In reality, no. All we're doing is showing them that it's an acceptable part of life and you don't need to be negative about it. And that's, again, isn't that where kind of everything just keeps coming back to? Why we always focus on making everything a negative when in reality, all it is just another reason of showing a difference. People think we're whitewashing every time they do live animation. My daughter freaked out over Moana because the live animation, I shit you not, the live animation trailer, her hair is not crimpy enough. I'm like, it's a cartoon. What do you expect? I watched it. I'm like, Dan, that girl's spot on. This is perfect. And she's like, oh my God, I'm like, you're nitpicking the stupidest little thing ever.
Well, people freaking out about Halle Bailey playing Ariel in The Little Mermaid because The Little Mermaid can't be black. There's no such thing as mermaids. Y'all know that, right? Like,
yes, there are. But of course, yeah, there's no races if they do exist.
Right.
Oh my God, yeah. But just it's okay to close off your mind, and we complain Wait, wait, real quick.
Conversation I had
Go for it.
with a person that has a child of similar age as mine, teenagers, and they're coming up through middle school, and he didn't understand why half the community, and it was mostly in the girls' arena, where half of them one day were bi, then the next day they were trans, then the next day they were. He was being a little bit sarcastic with the next day, but it was then 2 weeks later they decided they liked girls, and then they were back and forth. He got frustrated with the trendiness of it. And I
That is
remember
a hard
my
thing now.
right, and I understand that, but I go at the same time, is it becoming a trendy thing, a bad thing, or is it because it doesn't really matter that becomes the better subject to be talked about? That kids today are looking at it as like, well, maybe I like girls today. Maybe it's more of a freeing cusp of a
I can.
shackle to release to sit there and go, well, maybe I do like dudes. Maybe I do like girls. Maybe I like them both. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I
it's,
don't know.
I think it's positive. I mean, it's like exploration. But I mean, they're not, they're not, they're young kids, but like let them be and let them explore and let them discover themselves, right? I mean, yeah, it's trendy and it's like they might be just saying it because their friend said it or because their friend is gay or bi or whatever, but they're not hurting anybody.
No, especially by not saying, oh, let's go beat up some gay people or let's
Right.
go beat down some blacks or Arabs. I mean, they're that yeah, it's like, why is that such a bad thing? They're not, as you said, not hurting anybody. If
My,
anything, it's becoming a normalized of the subject matter in itself.
yeah, this came up with a conversation with a 15-year-old I had at some point, and a parent was like all freaked out about it. And I was like, let's be real honest. In pure reality, whatever way your child truly feels, one day they're going to be walking down the street and somebody is going to pass them. Going to be a male, there's going to be a female, but this being is going to pass them and their heart is going to stop.
Hmm.
And that's when they're going to know, my God, that is what I want. That is what pulls at my heart. And that's what I'm going to follow. And then
Mhm.
you can't, that's not some shit you can change, you can force, you can make up. That is ingrained in who you are. And when they're ready for that, let them say X and Y up until that point. But if you think you're gay and then the right woman walks up and you're like, whoa, I'd never seen anything that made me feel this way. I guess I wasn't gay. I want that. Or vice versa. It's just part of growing up and being life. We're just, and it's a different, the culture is so different, not even within age groups, but it's amazing with this country we have as to how much it changes. When I went from Ohio to Miami, Florida, the acceptance level there was no, I mean, there was whatever you want to call everything in Ohio, and the views were sporadic. It was left, right, black, white, very little gray. You had a view, and that's just where you were. In Miami, no one gave a shit. It was
Mhm.
literally just live life and enjoy it. And you find that out instantaneously. Driving down there the first time, top off my Jeep, and I'm like, whoa, that dude is hitting on me somehow in the middle of the street. And he don't care. I'm cool. All right, whatever. So this is just how it is here, and you accept it. I remember I used to get my hair cut from at a gay salon. And I remember I used to think it was crazy that women spent so much on haircuts. Then I'd start spending, 60, $80 on haircuts back in the early 2000s. And people are like, oh my God, you have no hair. What's wrong with you? I'm like, this is like a 3-hour haircut. They're giving
Yeah.
me wine and we're talking and I get a scalp massage. I'm like, they don't even, there's no electric clippers. It's an experience. It's give a two shits if the person's gay. I had a blast. It was like just hanging out. Okay, I'll see you guys in 6 weeks when I need to do this again. That was worth the money. And down there, but you would not find that in Cleveland unless you knew where to go. And where I went was just boom. This place looks like a good place
Yeah,
to get a haircut. Okay, this is
up
where I'm at.
here, I don't think there's really the only place you're going to find any of the LGBTQ community in any salons is going to be in any hair salon where women go. You're never really going to find it at a barber shop or anything like that.
Yeah.
At
In,
least not that I know of.
in South Florida, you could easily find that. It was pretty cool. And again,
You
not
definitely
ever.
can find a scantily clad woman trimming your hair in a bikini if you wanted to. when it's 20 degrees outside. But yeah, you wouldn't be able to find that unless you're in a certain circle. So up here, it's a lot like you're right, Joe. It's a lot more. Well, Lynn, I don't even know where you are. You from originally Ohio, or
I
did you just end up?
No, I'm from Ohio. I'm from a little town called Lisbon, which nobody from Ohio even knows usually.
Oh
There's a number of
shit,
people
I
I
know
know from there.
Lisbon.
Lisbon? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think there was 110 people in my graduated class, 500 in the entire high school. So yeah, small town, which was definitely interesting for growing up gay because I wasn't the only gay person in the high school at the time, but I was the only one who came out during high school.
Do tell.
And well, interestingly enough, of course, God, all my life, other people were telling me I was gay from the time I was very young because I mean, I was just effeminate and kind of thin well, I bounced back and forth on my weight, but I was thin very often.
I hear you.
And I was a dancer and I took after my mom with the sewing and acting. I did theater. So of course everyone was like, oh yeah, he's definitely gay. And I was picked on and bullied a lot for that until I came out, actually. The funny thing was, when I finally came out and said, okay, yeah, I'm gay, and then that's when I really got the balls where I was like Joe said what I did in the bathroom at college when people would say something about me in the hallway, I'd see people whispering, then I would walk right up to them and be like, what is the problem? Like, do you have an issue? Because we can figure it out. So I actually became a lot more popular after I came out, got a lot more friends, and people stopped bothering me. So that was an interesting situation. Now, I didn't come out to my parents right away because my mother was always very religious, and my stepfather had said at one point that if any of us were gay, that we would be thrown out of the house. So I didn't come out to my mom until just before I went to college, and she had pretty much the exact reaction that I thought she was going to have. She told me that I was going to hell and that she'll pray for me. And she's just when I think she's come around, things change again. Like she didn't come to our wedding, so that was not very fun for me. Then recently, like a year and a half or 2 years ago at my brother's wedding, she apologized to my husband and I for not coming to our wedding. Thank you, but little too late kind of thing.
Yeah.
Understood.
But yeah, I mean that was Ohio is definitely, like you said, it's very up down left right, black and white, no real gray.
Well, gray is all they have for weather.
Well, that
It is what it is.
It is beautiful up here in Gray.
Right. Lynn, do you think it would be easier now versus in the 90s?
I don't know, honestly. I
Yes.
mean, I think, yeah, I was going to say, I think it probably would be. I always obviously going to depend on where you are. I mean, there's very
Oh, yeah.
rural places in Ohio that probably still are a little backwards like that. And especially then again, if you're in a really religious community, like I said, with my mom and the whole thing.
Correct.
So, but I think hopefully things have turned around enough and people are more accepting and families are more supportive. I mean, I love my mom dearly, don't get me wrong, and we have a good relationship to this day, but there are still some strains there because of her feelings.
We find Vecna, we end this once and for all, together.
On December 25th,
We have a plan. It's a bit insane. Everyone in?
He knows where we are.
get ready for one last adventure.
We stay true to ourselves. Stay true to our friends, no matter the cost.
Found you. Stranger Things, Season 5, Volume 2 begins December 25th, only on Netflix.
Kraft mac and cheese is the best thing ever. It's even better than pop music. You look just as natural enjoying us at age 13 as you do 55. Kraft mac and cheese. Best thing ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'll admit, up here in Ohio, when we go to like a riverfront event or a community event or something, and I still see people of the same sex holding hands, I take a double take. And when I was younger in the 80s and 90s, it was a double take like, what the hell? Now it's all like, nice. They've got the balls to at least put it out there, and they're not afraid to show that. Most people just ignore it.
Yeah,
So
those things are
in
gone.
in our little communities, you're right, Lynn. In our little communities that we have up here in the suburbanite areas, they're a lot more accepting and if they're not accepting, they at least keep quiet about it. They mind their business, which is perfectly fine. But at least the people that are willing to put themselves out there are not afraid to do so much anymore.
Yeah, I definitely noticed with having a daughter in high school, there are way more clubs, opportunities, interactions that did none of that existed when we were in high school.
No, God, no.
Didn't you
No.
get yeah, they had them and again, college had them, but they were not there was like, right? There was
Right.
the LGBTQ, DQ, not club, I forget what it was called, but there was I mean, there was one thing for it, and that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it. It wasn't like a mass of various, clubs and all that. So, that is nice to see the growth of all that kinda stuff. We have a long way to go, but unfortunately, even if you look at color racism, we still have a long way to go with that. So we all know it's probably the one way where you can actually say trickle down is truthful
Mhm.
because it does trickle down from parent to child and grandparent to parent
Absolutely.
and all that. It ain't like economics. It truly is how the view is. And if you don't teach them that way, not that it's a forced, but it definitely does come from at home 100%. And I
Yes.
don't care what people seem to think that it's a big issue now where they're saying that they're teaching what they're trying to pull out of schools because they're teaching X, Y, and Z. Come on. That is not where
Uh,
children are forming opinions
No.
across.
Weaponizing ignorance. That's all they're
Yeah,
doing.
100%. So that's, open your eyes, people. Try not to be there. So listen, I'm not gonna dig into this one too much more. Lynn, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it was good to see you again, Lynn.
Yeah,
I
you
love
too.
the fact that, we kinda, we talked a whole gamut of things on here. I did not have a hardcore agenda as to which way we were gonna go with this, but I did wanna talk about a lot of what we've kinda discussed. As we know, which still exists in this world. There are still people that see something different and it scares them. They
Mm.
might say it bothers them, it affects them, whatever. The truth is, they don't understand it, so they just act negatively or they shun it and ignore it. We need to teach our kids better. Different is usually good because as much as you might not like, I know I'm not a fan, but Elon Musk is a weird ass individual, but he tries things that are different and some of it is for the better.
Mm.
Not all of it. God forgive, not all of it, but you do have to embrace the Stephen Hawkings.
Evolution.
Have to, yeah,
Evolution, people.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, because all it is evolution. We need to evolve, or nothing will ever get better for any of us. That's the other thing is hate doesn't make anybody's life better in any manner. What the fuck? Why? All it does is give you more stress, and we all end up dying sooner,
Yeah.
right? I
Oh my God,
mean,
yeah.
as Lynn says, I don't think so, honey.
I don't think so, honey.
So, Mike, and Lynn has a TikTok. He's got an Instagram. He's got a Facebook saying of "I don't think so, honey." Lynn, I see a lot of these before I make a you give us one.
Okay.
And just to give people some other background, Lynn is a very, very well-rounded person. He's become I did not expect you to get into cooking nearly as much as you did from what we knew in the past, but
Yeah.
you really jumped into that one.
Oh, yeah.
I have looked at so many of the things that you put out there for food. A lot of them look delicious.
Thank you.
Some of them are not my cup of tea, but I guarantee you they're my wife's cup of tea. And
Great.
there are some I've shown her and she's like, "That sounds great." I'm like, for you. But that's again, that's like everything else, right? If you really look at it, cooking and everything we've just talked about go hand in hand. Do
Yeah.
not be afraid to try something different. I mean, my God, we're going over an hour here, but fuck it. I'm gonna just ask you this real quick question. Because if you compare from when you lived up north to when you came down south, you were in New York, you've been in Central Florida for quite a while now. I know
Yeah.
you and your husband travel a lot.
Mhm.
You try a lot of different cuisines and you look at the different usage of spices and how to get flavor into the palate in different ways. Did any of that shit exist when you were growing up? Because it did not for me.
Oh God, no. I mean, salt and pepper, that was about
Dude,
it. soy sauce if you went to the Chinese restaurant,
Right?
which was mostly a bunch of white people in the back anyway. But like, yeah, no, none of that existed. I mean, I moved to New York and everything was opened up. It's so many different things there. And then my husband's Filipino. I've dated a couple of other Filipino men before him. And so that really opened me up to a lot of different foods. I love Filipino food. It's amazing. They do a lot of different stuff with vinegars and soy sauces and, combinations that you wouldn't think of. They have a dish that's my favorite dish, which is called diniguan, which is a blood stew. It's a pork stew with the sauce is made with pig's blood. It's absolutely delicious. So that was something that in Ohio never.
No.
But yeah,
in the
no.
Amish community.
We used to say in Ohio, barbecue was just open up a can of whatever sauce you had and throw it on chicken. That was
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Dry rub didn't exist. But hell, eggs didn't get maybe salt and pepper if you were lucky, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It is, the food palette. Hey, come on, everybody, just live your life like Anthony Bourdain.
100%.
Treat people the same way you would treat all those different exquisite foods you can get out there.
Try crickets, guys. Try crickets. They're delicious.
Oh, unfortunately, I have. Which, oh my God, that reminds me. So my 11-year-old has gotten into watching The Modern Family with my wife, so they're going through all of them. And literally, the episode last night was one of the ones where there was this fight about paying dinner with this couple they met in Cabo, and there was a fight over why X-man would never pay the dinner and always the same couple paid it. And he finally fessed up and he's like, because I lost a bet. And the wife's like, what's the bet? It's like, which one of you would have eaten the most crickets when we were in Cabo? And we were putting them in your food to see which wife would eat more crickets. Literally, like, oh my God,
No.
so hilarious, And then they walk away and you find out they were still doing it. But again, you never know. So yes, that's live your life with a flavorful palette of food, people.
Yes.
Lynn, give me a I don't think so, honey. And we're going to promote the shit out of that.
All right. Give me a second here.
I put him on the spot.
I don't think so, honey. This idea that social media gets to decide what kind of gay I'm supposed to be. No, ma'am. One app thinks I'm a tweak. The next thinks I'm a bear. And TikTok is over here assigning me a micro label based on whether I drink iced coffee or own one cropped hoodie. I don't think so, honey. For decades, we've been fighting to be ourselves. And now the algorithm is like, actually, here's your aesthetic, your playlist, and your personality curated. Baby, I've lived through the era when you had to decode if someone was gay by their eyebrow grooming. And now I have a For You page telling me I'm gay. I'm doing gay the wrong way. And don't get me started on the perfect gay couple content, matching sweatsuits, golden retrievers, soft lighting. If you love it, great. But if I want to launch my soft chaos era, that's my business. Identity is not a Pinterest board, sweetie. So to the algorithm trying to shove me into a tiny glitter-covered box, I don't think so, honey.
Yeah, I love it. And you know what I'm waiting for now? As I'm hearing the algorithm, I'm like, I cannot wait for the first gay AI model to come out. It's going to be awesome. And I'm already going to call it Grok.
Grok.
Yeah. Sorry, Elon. I bet Grok.
Right.
All right. Chef Lynn Wheeler.
All right. Thank you, Lynn, for joining us. Michael, we're going to talk Christmas next week. All right. Yes. We're going to go some throwdown on some Christmas shit next week.